Welcome back to the deep dive. If the end of year one at Wrestle War felt less like a conclusion and more like just a chaotic detonation that ripped the company apart, then this past event, Level Up, is something else.
Oh, completely different.
Yeah, it feels like the foundational blueprint. It's like they're testing the structural integrity for everything that's coming in year two.
It absolutely is. I mean, the noise and the pure chaos of Wrestle War led directly into this new divisional structure we saw in RCW Rage.
Right.
You've got the World Tier, which is all about prestige and history. And then you have the Prestige Tier, which is just full of hungry, volatile challengers.
Yeah.
Level Up wasn't just essential viewing. It felt like the mechanism that was designed to define the whole strategic landscape. We needed to see who adapted, who learned from last year.
And who just refuses to follow the rules.
Exactly.
And that's why our mission today is to break down the entire event, really treating it as the core map for the next 6 months of RCW. We're going to go beyond just the results. We need to analyze the winners, the really crucial emotional post-match reactions, and what all of this tells us about the championship pursuits in every single division.
And we have to start with the complexity of the contender matches, because the rules themselves were designed to test different things.
Wholly different skill sets.
Right. Look at the world divisions, both the men's and the women's. The rule was first to 2 falls wins.
Which is just grueling.
It's a test of sustained excellence, of resilience, of strategy. You can't get lucky once. You have to win twice against 3 other people in a fatal 4-way. It's insane.
And then you contrast that with the prestige divisions.
Yeah.
For the U.S. and Heritage titles.
A standard 1 fall win.
But so much more dangerous in a way.
It is. It favors volatility, aggression, opportunism. It means the match itself is just built for chaos, and any challenger, no matter how desperate, can score a title shot with one good move. The pressure is on from the second the bell rings.
Exactly. So the card gave us 4 of these high-stakes fatal 4-ways, and they were interspersed with these critical exhibition matches that were just pure storytelling vehicles.
All building up to the debut of Matthew Alexander, the man who promises to be the savior of wrestling.
A lot to get through.
A ton. So let's just jump right in. Let's start with the Women's World Championship contender fatal 4-way.
Okay, so let's unpack this monumental clash that kicked off the night. This was for the right to challenge Lily Sunshine, and the rules were set up to guarantee absolute carnage.
First to 2 falls and fall count anywhere.
Yeah. The competitors were, they were built around legacy and ambition. You had Brittany Ali.
Right, fresh off her whole rebranding as the most dangerous woman in RCW.
Yeah.
She's trying to claw back that title she lost, and she's always been ruthless. But this new name, it implies something more.
A complete lack of boundaries.
Exactly.
Then you had Black Rose, the powerhouse, former Royal Rumble winner. She's looking to rebound after losing to Lily at Wrestle War. She's always a threat, but she needed to prove she could get the job done this time.
And, crucially, we had Marcella,
Ah, yes.
the longest reigning Heritage champion from year 1. But after she lost that title, she immediately said the world title was her goal.
This was her proving ground.
It was. She's the ultimate manipulative technical specialist, and this was her chance to show she belongs at the absolute top tier.
And finally, the definitive force of year 1, Rebecca Welch.
2-time world champion, Iron Woman winner.
She proved her dominance in every possible way last year. And now, after a short time away from the title picture, she was looking for an immediate, undisputed return.
The match dynamics with that fall count anywhere rule were just instantly chaotic.
For sure.
It was the technical specialists, Ali and Marcella, trying to use their speed and submissions against the overwhelming power of Rose and Welch.
And Ali immediately tried to live up to that dangerous woman name.
She did. She brought a steel chair into it right away, attacking Welch on the floor. It proved she'll use anything to get an edge.
But the technical exchanges, that's where the future fault lines were really drawn. Welch, with her deep MMA background, she locked in that kill hook on Black Rose early. Rose had to really struggle to get out of that.
And then Ali countered with an STF on Welch. But the most significant strategic moment, the one that I think is going to ripple for months, involved Marcella.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Marcella, who relies on her precision, she goes for her finisher, the dream over. But Black Rose shows incredible grit and breaks up the pin just in time.
And then came the moment the cameras caught perfectly.
Welch locks in the devastating sharpshooter on Marcella outside the ring. She's using the debris around them for leverage. Marcella is invisible, just agonizing pain.
She has nowhere to go.
Nowhere. And she tapped out.
She tapped. We all saw it. The camera saw it.
But the referee, Maybe distracted by the chaos of the stipulation, he's way far from the ring. He completely misses the submission.
And this isn't just a high spot. I mean, this is a piece of storytelling genius. The veteran technical specialist, Marcella, forced a tap by a powerhouse submission expert in Welch.
But the lack of an official notice lets her continue, clinging to the fact that, officially, she didn't lose that fall.
That missed tap out, it instantly becomes the lightning rod for her psychological breakdown later.
It does. But the fact is, Rebecca Welch won cleanly, going 2-0 and just proved her clinical efficiency.
So for fall 1, Welch gets the pinfall right there, outside the ring, right where Marcella had tapped. She reapplies the sharpshooter, transitions to a pin. It showed her technical danger, forcing a fellow submission expert to yield.
And for the final fall, she turned her attention back to Black Rose. She executed a devastating heel hook submission, targeting the ankle of the former Rumble winner.
And before Rose could even really react, Welch just transitioned the leverage from the hold into this sudden lightning-fast roll-up pin.
And she gets the second and final fall.
The analysis here is just, Welch was the only woman who got a pinfall or submission in the entire match.
Not a single other fall was registered by anyone else.
No. She was decisive, clinical, efficient. She earned her title shot against Lily Sunshine and just reaffirmed her status as the absolute deadly competitor of the division.
But the post-match reaction is where the entire world division shifts. Let's start with Marcella.
Oh boy.
She went absolutely off the rails backstage. You know her history. She's always arrogant, always convinced she's better than everyone.
But this was different.
This was pure, unadulterated malice. She denied tapping out, saying, "I don't care what you people think you saw, I didn't tap out."
What's so fascinating is how that denial immediately turned into this targeted aggression. She didn't just deny losing, she fixated on Black Rose, blamed her for interfering and costing her the match.
And she delivered a line that was genuinely shocking. It moved her from just a confident heel to a truly spiteful antagonist.
What did she say again?
She said, I pray her ankle is broken in a million pieces and that she never gets another championship opportunity. That extreme shift is driven entirely by that perceived loss of opportunity. Marcella, the technical specialist, thought she belonged at the top, and in her mind, Black Rose ruined it.
That's not just wrestling heat. That is a serious personal vendetta forming.
Exactly. Wishing for that level of physical injury, the destruction of a rival's career, it suggests Marcella is now operating with a genuine, dangerous psychological wound.
And Black Rose is already living in that reality. She was immediately seen in the medical facility.
Visibly injured ankle, a direct result of that heel hook.
And despite the doctor telling her to rest, to use crutches, she refused. She just struggled to put weight on it, but forced herself to walk out with this look of sheer, determined refusal.
That image, Black Rose refusing crutches, accepting the pain, it absolutely sets up a high-stakes, deeply personal Marcella Rose feud. It's all going to center on that injured ankle and Marcella's malicious prayer.
Rose is determined to prove her wrong, injury or not.
Meanwhile, the calculated third party, Brittany Ali, she just dismissed the result entirely.
Right, she just said Welch was highly lucky.
Shows she's completely undeterred. She's still laser-focused on her ultimate goal, getting that title back from Lily Sunshine. She saw no change in her own status, just a temporary setback.
And finally, we got the confrontation we were all waiting for. Lily Sunshine, the champion known for her almost childlike pure joy, was waiting for Welch.
She comes in smiling, says, "I see why you were picked as year one's top performer. Fighting you is going to be fun." And that line is Lily's signature. She sees every match as a celebration.
But Welch refused to play that game.
Not at all. Her response was clinical, chilling. She told Lily, "Trust me, this won't be fun for you," and just pointedly stared down at the championship belt on Lily's shoulder before looking back into her eyes.
And this is the crux of the psychological analysis. Lily's initial joyful smile is her armor. It's her defense mechanism against the cruelty of the industry.
And the sources confirm that when Welch delivered that line and that cold stare, Lily's smile wasn't as bright and full of confidence.
For the very first time, the champion's psychological armor is starting to crack.
Exactly. Welch's challenge isn't just physical. It's a promise to eradicate the joy Lily gets from being champion. The psychological warfare has begun, and Welch drew first blood without laying a finger on her.
It sets up a phenomenal year 2 conflict. Lily has to prepare for a physical onslaught, but more dangerously, she has to defend her very persona. That's a complex threat.
So we just saw the political and psychological warfare start at the very top with Lillian Welch. But right beneath them, we had a match that signaled something much darker rising.
An ideological, maybe even supernatural threat.
Yeah. This was Dawn Babos versus Linda Bishop, an exhibition match designed purely for momentum.
And this was critical for Dawn Babos. This was her debuting her new dark persona after embracing the darkness when she lost her soul to Willow at Wrestle War.
The happy-go-lucky Da Baby Babe had failed. Babos needed to prove that failure was dead and that this new aggression was the way forward.
And Linda Bishop, the former Heritage Champion, she was just trying to find her footing in the World Division, trying to find success in the deep waters.
The match dynamics immediately told the story of Babos' transformation. She used her natural power game, but with this new, uncontrolled aggression.
She dominated Bishop early, just tossing her hard into the apron and then the steel steps.
Bishop's fast strikes were effective. They created some separation, but Babos' sheer physical dominance just overwhelmed her.
The result confirmed the shift. Babos wins with the baby bomb, her old finisher. But let's talk about the delivery.
It wasn't just a move.
No, he was delivered with a ferocity that seemed almost unnatural. It was a statement, imbued with the symbolic darkness that Willow had promised her.
It proves that this new aggressive side, free of her old persona's limits, is truly the key to success in her mind.
Her backstage statement after just reiterated that. Her goal is no longer asking for opportunities. She's going to win the Women's World Championship and take what she believes is rightfully hers.
Suggesting she sees herself as a victim of her own past innocence.
But here is where the temperature just dropped, shifting the entire narrative of the division. During Babos' interview, Willow the Witch suddenly appeared backstage.
Silent, chilling, and just utterly unnerving. They didn't speak, they just stared at each other.
The tension was immense, even though it was only for a few moments. Willow then silently turned and walked away into the shadows.
And Babos followed.
And the sources confirmed the really chilling outcome, suggesting something beyond a typical wrestling storyline. The lights in the backstage corridor flickered violently, and then
The two women were gone. Just vanished.
what's so fascinating here is that this silent, chilling moment confirms that the alliance between them is ideological, yes, but it's also spiritual, maybe even supernatural.
This dark force isn't just a typical wrestling faction. It's an immediate, unpredictable, and frankly supernatural threat to the entire World Division.
Especially to Lily Sunshine's lighthearted, joyful persona.
You've got Rebecca Welch challenging the joy, and now you have Willow and Babos challenging the light itself.
And we can't forget Linda Bishop in this. Her failure to find success here, despite her strong strikes, contrasts so sharply with Babos' sudden, overwhelming dominance.
It highlights the new, harder reality of the World Division. Bishop, who was trying to climb the ladder cleanly, just ran into an unstoppable, aggressive force.
That contrast is probably fueling the tension we've seen on Rage, hinting that Bishop might be feeling not just disappointed, but maybe overwhelmed by the extremity of the division she's in.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Shifting focus now to the Prestige division, which we established operates under a single volatile fall. The men's Prestige contender fatal four-way for the U.S. title was exactly the chaotic environment the A-listers thrive in.
The stakes were immediate, and the structure just favored quick, dirty opportunism.
The competitors were designed to clash ideologically. You had Samuel Parker, the arrogant A-lister, dedicated to corporate control.
Sebastian Wolf, the honorable veteran, mentor to the current U.S. champ LJ Hernandez, representing the old guard's respect.
Then Warlord, the respected veteran and current TV champion, who has a publicly stated contempt for the A-listers and their cheating ways.
And Caleb Morrison, the brawler, empowered by his wife Zinda.
The presence of Zinda was already a sign this match would have outside interference, even without the A-listers.
Oh, yeah. The one-fall rule made alliances meaningless. Friends like Wolf and Warlord, even though they were united against the A-listers' ethos, quickly found themselves having to fight each other.
But the A-listers factor was the dominant story. Anthony Hogan, their consigliere, was ringside from the bell.
Actively causing disruption. He even went so far as to remove the padding from a turnbuckle.
We saw some incredible exchanges. Wolf hit the full moon bomb, that crushing power move, but the pin got broken up.
Morrison attempted his diamond breaker, but everything was secondary to the organized corruption happening outside the ring.
Hogan's presence was just a constant drain on focus. We saw Zinda distracting Sebastian Wolf, pulling him off a potential pin.
And Wolf, in his frustration, ends up taking out the referee in the chaos.
The A-listers successfully created a window of intentional disorder.
And it was Samuel Parker who successfully navigated, or, let's be honest, exploited this disorder.
He used every distraction, the exposed turnbuckle, the down referee, all to his advantage.
He ultimately got the win by pinning Caleb Morrison after hitting that breathtaking diving tope attack. He capitalized on Morrison being exhausted from all the chaos.
The outcome here is so crucial. Parker's win was built entirely on cheating. It was a victory for the system, not for skill.
And that win immediately validates the A-listers' corporate takeover strategy.
They aren't just a faction, they're a political machine seeking control of both tiers at the same time.
Parker's post-match warning to LJ Hernandez, the current U.S. champion, was sharp and focused. He said, "Count down the days because the A-listers are going to bring the United States Championship back to where it belongs, around my waist."
This means the A-listers successfully positioned Parker for the U.S. title in the Prestige division, paired perfectly with Deshaun Williams' earlier win, placing him in the world title picture.
It's a two-pronged attack against both men's champions right at the start of year 2. It validates their goal to be at the top of both men's divisions. It's an effective, systemic plan.
The Prestige division closed its championship action with the Women's Heritage title contender Fatal 4-Way, another high-stakes match under that volatile one-fall-to-win rule.
And this was a stacked field. It really proved that the Prestige division is far from a lesser entity. It's a true testing ground.
You had Sarah Kay, the aggressive striker and former world champion, fighting out of deep humiliation after a rough end to year 1 and being relegated from the world division.
Who was at everything to prove. Then there was Kelly Styles, a 2-time Heritage champ and an unpredictable technician.
And we also saw Ashley Angel, the submission specialist and a former world champion legend, adding massive pedigree to the match.
And Selena Webb, the breakout star whose high-speed lucha style was designed to disrupt the power and technical games of the other 3.
The match dynamics were defined by just sheer aggression, particularly from Sarah Kay. She was relentless from the opening bell.
You could see she was fueled by her need to prove her worth and challenge the perception that she was relegated. She fought like her career depended on it.
We saw some high-level action that was fluid and fast-paced. Angel, the legend, locked in her deadly angel wing submission on Selena Webb.
And Webb's escape was acrobatic and desperate. Webb then countered with high-flying offense, hitting a top-rope axe handle for a close 2 count on Kay.
The Prestige division is filled with talent that refuses to be ignored.
Despite the high-level exchanges, it was Sarah Kay who secured the win. She hit a powerful fisherman suplex with a bridge pin on Ashley Angel.
The bridge is the key detail. It's not just the impact of the suplex, but the sustained pressure that prevented the legendary Angel from kicking out.
This outcome is profoundly symbolic. Kay's determination, fueled entirely by her desire to prove her worth after her Wrestle War loss and her demotion, was the deciding factor.
She overcame the technical prowess of a legend like Ashley Angel, securing a career-defining win.
And her post-match reaction solidified the importance of this title pursuit. Kay was defiant, staring into the camera and declaring she is tired of people saying that the Prestige division is the lesser division.
She asserts that the Prestige division is now the standard bearer for newer talent and the ones who will have to set the absolute standard of what it means to be an RCW wrestler.
This level of focused determination is exactly what Michelle Diaz, the current Heritage champion, wanted. Kay warned Diaz to get ready, as she is more focused now than ever before.
This outcome, combined with Kay's strong statement, achieves Diaz's stated goal, making the Heritage title the central, highest standard focus of the stacked Prestige division.
The title is no longer a stepping stone. It's a destination defined by former champions fighting for pride.
We moved to the second exhibition match of the night, which, ironically, created the most unpredictable element of the entire show.
Leo Osborne versus Eddie Butcher.
Butcher hasn't been seen much since being publicly relegated to the Prestige decision by King himself. He was returning with a huge chip on his shoulder.
A 2-time former world champion told to start at the bottom.
And Osborne is the highly respected, high-flying cruiserweight known for his speed and agility.
This was the classic power versus speed mismatch, and Butcher made a statement. The powerhouse dominated the smaller Osborne with power and destruction.
Butcher used sheer size and force, refusing to allow Osborne to establish his signature speed offense.
And while Leo showed great effort and his signature cruiserweight bursts, he was just completely overwhelmed by the relentless aggression.
Butcher won decisively with a massive power move, A scoop slam transitioned directly into a power slam, proving he hasn't lost a step, only his standing.
But the real seismic shock came in the post-match reaction. Butcher's cryptic warning. He took a moment, declared he had figured out his path, and then delivered this bombshell.
He said, "I may be in the prestige division, but the United States Championship isn't my goal. Come this next episode of Rage, my goal will become even more clear."
Okay, let's analyze the implications here, because this is huge.
It's massive.
King told Butcher to start at the bottom and earn it. Butcher, a two-time world champion, is immediately, publicly, and defiantly rejecting the U.S. title, the very symbol of the division he was forced into.
It's a direct slap in the face to King and to the entire new divisional structure implemented by GM Max Stone.
By rejecting the U.S. title, Butcher is signaling that his immediate singular focus lies elsewhere. We have to debate the possibilities right now, because this affects every division.
So, option 1. Is he planning to fight the ideological war? We just saw Matthew Alexander debut against Brody Wade. Butcher's a former champion who understands power struggles. Is he planning to insert himself into the savior versus anarchist conflict?
That's compelling. Maybe he aligns himself with Alexander to cleanse the corruption that King represents. He's clearly highly motivated and likely sees Alexander as the fastest route back to relevance.
Option 2 is the most dangerous. Is he going to challenge King directly, despite the rules?
If King relegated him, and Butcher immediately wins a non-title match and ignores the prestige structure, the only logical target left is the world champion who humiliated him.
And that would create massive institutional friction. GM Max Stone spent a lot of political capital establishing the world versus prestige structure.
And if Butcher, a proven main event player, just ignores the rulebook, he becomes a volatile force that Stone himself will be forced to control.
Stone either has to punish Butcher for violating the system or reward his ambition and compromise the divisional boundaries immediately in year 2.
Butcher is positioning himself as the ultimate wildcard. His road back will be non-traditional, highly motivated, and regardless of his target, he is ensuring that the prestige division will not contain him for long.
We'll find out next Rage. But until then, that refusal to go for the U.S. title is the most important cryptic development of the night.
For sure. The tension was palpable heading into the men's world championship contender fatal four-way, once again with that grueling first-to-two falls wins rule.
This was a powerhouse field, all hungry for the chance to dethrone King.
We had Tucker Reeves, the resilient new TV champion, who proved his incredible toughness against warlords. Deshaun Williams, the A-listers world title representative, with Hogan at ringside, ready to inject chaos.
Rey Munoz, the high-flying Lucha Libre star, riding massive momentum after beating Scorpion at Wrestle War.
And Scorpion, the inaugural world champion, a tactical veteran who survived a brutal war with Eddie Butcher last year. He knows exactly how to navigate these high-stakes matches.
The match dynamics were a strategic free-for-all. What made the two falls rule so fascinating here is that 3 different men scored a fall before the finish.
It showcases the incredible depth of the field, but it also means that every fall was a strategic neutralization, leaving the competitors tied and exhausted for the final, sudden death sequence.
Let's track the blows precisely, because this was dizzying. Fall 1 went to Tucker Reeves, who managed to hit a devastating spear on Deshaun Williams.
Which was huge, demonstrating Reeves' ability to strike hard despite the physical toll of having just won the TV title. He had the power, but it cost him energy.
But the falls kept trading immediately. Before Reeves could recover, Fall 1 went to Rey Munoz, who capitalized on the moment, hitting a swift, spinning back elbow on Reeves.
That put Munoz on the scoreboard and proved his quickness was a decisive factor against the slower powerhouses.
And the A-lister factor paid off right away. Deshaun Williams, thanks to assistance from Hogan ringside, hit an angle slam on Munoz to score his own Fall 1.
So this chaotic trade-off meant that the scores were functionally tied 1-1-1-0. Everyone had proven capable, but the match reset into a desperate scramble for that single final fall.
The level of exhaustion was visible. Scorpion, the tactical veteran, tried to take control using his experience, but in the end, it was Rey Munoz who secured the final deciding fall.
Munoz hit the golden cutter on Scorpion, a devastating vertical drop move that uses the opponent's momentum against them to secure the pin.
Munoz wins 2-1, continuing the momentum built from his Wrestle War win over Scorpion. The analysis here confirms that Munoz's superior quickness and ability to capitalize on openings in a chaotic environment proved superior.
Superior to the sheer power of Reeves, the technical striking of Scorpion, and the systemic faction support of Williams.
But the immediate connection this sets up is historical.
Oh, deeply historical. Munoz has a deep personal history with King, They fought in a brutal casket match at Fright Night last year.
And they were the final two men in the men's Royal Rumble match.
Exactly. This sets up a massive high-stakes title clash between King, the solitary champion, and Munoz, a high-flying, clean, threat-riding, incredible momentum.
And King now faces a legitimate three-pronged threat. The clean challenge of Munoz, the systemic cheating of Deshaun Williams and the A-listers, and the wild card of Eddie Butcher looming somewhere in the shadows.
That brought us to the main event, which was not about gold, but about the very ideological soul of RCW.
Brody Wade, the anarchist, versus Matthew Alexander, the savior, in Alexander's highly anticipated debut.
Alexander vowed to cleanse RCW of corruption. Wade declared himself the devil, ready to burn everything to the ground.
This was the ultimate contrast in personalities and philosophies. Wade, the former world champion, representing chaos and destruction, rushed Alexander from the bell, immediately throwing heavy fists,
just showing his contempt for the idea of a savior.
And Alexander, the indie legend, needed to prove his pedigree lived up to the massive hype after a long layoff due to injury.
He showed his power and readiness immediately, hitting a massive scoop slam and, critically, his signature move, the Tombstone Piledriver.
The fact that Alexander hadn't competed in a major match for a long time, but still showed the power and precision to execute that move, immediately proved he belonged to the absolute top tier.
The match was an intense brawl, a physical representation of their philosophical conflict. Alexander was fighting for redemption and order. Wade was fighting purely for destruction.
Matthew Alexander won the physical battle, defeating Brody Wade after using a second decisive Tombstone Piledriver.
Alexander proved he lives up to the hype in his debut, establishing himself as the true savior.
However, the aftermath is the enduring symbolic image that we have to focus on.
Yes. While Alexander stood stoically in the ring, soaking in his first victory, Wade left his indelible mark.
As Alexander looked towards the heavens, blood ran visibly down the Savior's face.
That image, the purified savior standing victorious but literally marked with the blood of the anarchist, tells us Alexander may have won the physical battle, but Wade successfully contaminated the symbol Alexander is trying to project.
He won the fight, but lost his purity in the process.
And Wade's reaction was pure, unadulterated fury. He was so enraged that security and GM Max Stone had to escort him out.
As he was pulled away, he was yelling, cursing, and critically spitting at Max Stone, declaring the rivalry with Alexander wasn't over.
That spitting at the general manager shows the ideological threat is now manifesting as an institutional threat. Wade doesn't just hate Alexander. He hates the rules and the authority structure that allowed Alexander's debut to happen.
The stakes for their future conflict are now incredibly personal, defining the moral compass of the entire world division.
Alexander won the skirmish, but Wade ensured the war continues and left an emotional and physical scar on the savior. This ideological war is now central to year 2. Whether King or the rest of the roster wants to acknowledge it or not, the battle lines have been drawn in blood.
Okay, let's synthesize the blueprint that Level Up has created. We have clear, complicated, and intense championship pictures moving into year 2.
In the Women's World Championship, Lily Sunshine faces Rebecca Welch, the clinical, dominant, and experienced threat. But that's just the start.
Right.
She also has Brittany Ali, who is ruthlessly calculated, and the newly aligned dark force of Dawn Babos and Willow. The biggest storyline isn't who beats Lily, but the psychological threat to Lily's core, joyful persona. Her armor is cracking.
For the Men's World Championship, King faces Rey Munoz, a high-momentum, high-speed challenger with deep personal history. King is also contending with the systemic cheating threat of Deshaun Williams and the A-listers, plus the unpredictable chaos caused by the Alexander Wade ideological war.
And meanwhile, the Prestige division is defined by highly focused challengers. Sarah Kay, driven by humiliation and the need to prove the Prestige standard, is gunning for Michelle Diaz in a rivalry that promises technical excellence and aggression.
And Samuel Parker, the cheating A-lister, targets LJ Hernandez, setting up a clash of honor versus corporate corruption. The rivalries are extremely personal down here.
But if we're looking for the most unsettling narrative, the real unpredictable element coming out of Level Up, it has to be Eddie Butcher's declared goal.
Absolutely. Butcher, a two-time world champion, publicly humiliated and relegated by King, won his exhibition match, but openly rejected the U.S. title as his target.
That statement that his goal would become clearer on the next Rage changes everything.
He is a motivated top-tier powerhouse. By rejecting the Prestige title, He is signaling that he is immediately going back to the World Division regardless of the rules. So we have to ask you listening, is Butcher planning to fight Alexander's ideological war against Wade?
Yeah, seeing an opening to destroy the old guard in Wade and impress the new power in Alexander.
Or is his motivation purely revenge, challenging King directly despite the rules? Or is he setting himself up to be such a volatile force that only the GM can control him, forcing Max Stone's hand?
Butcher's path is now the most compelling and potentially disruptive wildcard in RCW. He forces every champion and every faction to look over their shoulder because he's playing by no one's rules but his own.
And that leads directly to our final provocative thought for you to chew on this week. We saw Lily Sunshine's trademark smile finally fade when confronted by Rebecca Welch, exposing a critical psychological crack.
On the other side, King continues to stand alone, refusing allies against the systemic political danger posed by the A-listers and their two-pronged assault. His ego blinds him to the need for help.
So considering the deep psychological war facing Lily and the complex, multi-layered political war facing King, who is in the most immediate and complex danger right now, the champion who is afraid to ask for help, or the champion whose psychological armor is starting to crack?
Keep watching, keep analyzing. Level Up was just the first step in year 2, and the landscape is already shaking.